DJ Shaban as we go to the top of the third inning here on MC22 as you're watching an Alliance Conference South showdown. Hope you're enjoying it here this afternoon. How about that 3-1 ball game now into the third. Lincoln will send up 9 top of the order. Rasmussen, Newhouse, and Halton. And Dominic Ellis, the head coach in his third year for the Lincoln Rail Splitters. And he's not a person who enjoys softball more, I don't think, Laura, than Dominic Ellis. I mean, assistant coach at Graceland. A couple of years ago, saw the opportunity to come back and coach during the summer and wanted it. And what a job he's done here.
He really has. His third year here at Lincoln and has had this core group of players since they were young, since they were sophomores. And so sophomore, junior, and now their senior year has just really instilled a lot of work ethic in them. And he said the hitting numbers have continually gone up each and every year. They've done a few different drills that he liked to do. The players have bought in, and that's why they are battling. They were 1 out away from going to the state tournament a year ago.
You know, when you think about it, Lincoln traditionally has had some very strong programs. Coming in at third, Thompson, the sharp throw. What a job. Well done there by Tenley Thompson down the line.
That was a slow roller, and good job. Page kind of comes over, tries to grab it. Thompson right there, and strong throw.
What do you think about it, though, for Lincoln? Traditionally strong over the years. In the last decade, maybe the first half of the decade, falling off a little bit. Coach Ellis coming in and just reestablished that South Side power.
Yeah, they up and down through the years have had really good teams. And again, I always like to get this in on these. Back when I played.
Yeah, which was here, by the way.
No, it wasn't on this field.
No.
That was long. Oh my gosh, we shared a softball diamond with the baseball field. It was kind of a makeshift deal, but Lincoln was really, really good back then. We always had good battles with them. They always had good pitching and good power hitting. And so they have a program that has pride in their softball program. And yes, it's been a roller coaster, but I think Coach Ellis has them back up at the peak.
That 1-2 pitch fouled away.
No, this used to be a parking lot at the school.
That's right. That's right. I think the bat might have lost its core at the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Little fungo. That'll lighten it up a little bit at the top. Nobody checked it, so it's okay. And a check swing will cost Newhouse a strikeout. There's 2 gone.
Got her on that rise ball, just could not hold up. It was up in the zone, looked at it, and tried to check it, just already halfway past the plate.
Now here's Melanie Halton. Popped up to the catcher, and Morrow, that was back in the first inning. And how about Page settling down now, has retired the last 6 batters she's faced. This one on the ground. Halton says no more. I'm aboard.
Great adjustment at the plate on that pitch down in the zone. And able to shoot it right back up the middle. Page couldn't get the glove down. And that's a great look at it as it goes right out into center field. And Vukovic gets it in quickly.
So the tying run at the plate, and Rishas takes that pitch over for a strike. Lincoln as a team towards the top of the Alliance Conference in home runs so far this year. It's early on. 8 home runs on the season as a unit. And that pitch in there for a strike. As Rishas is quickly down to the count at 0-2. That pitch down and away, trying to take second, and doing so safely is Melanie Halton.
Just as she took off, I was looking at her statistics, 4 of 5 before that one. Now 5 of 6. Got a good jump, and a pitch was down in the zone.
Now we missed it. They're going to say that Risha swung on the pitch as Lincoln's wanting an explanation. And I think they're appealing it. Let's take a look at this. We have the advantage of replay here. Did she hold up?
Looked like she checked.
Then they made the appeal after the fact. And so, yeah, they're going to say that she did not check her swing, so it'll be a strikeout, and that'll be it. Forget the stolen base. We're going to head to the bottom of the third inning. Roosevelt with a 3-1 lead here on Lincoln as you're watching the Iowa High School Softball Game of the Week here on MC22.
Welcome back to the Price Match game. Today we're playing for a new range from GE. Let's price match.
Jack from House Station, what have you got?
Well, I can do $9.99.
What about you, Skippy from Bottoms?
I can beat the House Station with $900.
Kurt from Archer Home Center, can you price match 900?
I can price match that, and we'll install it and service it as long as you own it.
It looks like you win, and our audience at home wins too by taking advantage of Archer Home Center's price match guarantee.
Here we go to the bottom of the third inning. It's a 3-1 ball game. Roosevelt with the lead on Lincoln. And due up for the Rough Riders, it's going to be 3-4-5, Vukovic, Page, and then Morrow. All to take on C.J. Rishis as the Rough Riders pounce for 3 runs in the second inning. Let's see how Rishis and the Rails respond here in the third, especially after a little bit of controversy. It was a check swing. It's a 2-man crew. And the field umpire, Bill Borchert, had to call the play at second. And then the appeal was made. Heads-up play, though, behind the dish by Morrow to call for the appeal and to get it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's, again, a young team understanding the game of softball, what you need to do.
First pitch taken down low here to Vukovic for ball 1. Avery grounded out on that first plate appearance of the day. And it counts at 2 balls and no strikes. And this is where you count on your seniors. I mean, there are over 6 seniors on the roster for the Lincoln Rail Splitters. And what an advantage that is to have 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds playing with you now.
Yeah, Coach Ellis said, you know, it's kind of nice. He goes, I just fill out the lineup and they know exactly what to do. They think the way I do. We all think together the same way as a team. And, you know, it's just kind of nice that he said it's kind of a drama-free team. It's really nice to be around these players.
2 balls and a strike here to Vukovic. After this one, pops it up. First base side, foul ground, and making the grab is going to be Defino.
I think there was a little confusion initially whether it's Corsby or Defino. And Defino called her off, and a little bit of yellow showing, but she pulled it in.
I don't think Corsby exactly saw it, too, which also helped. Now here's Claire Page. Drew a walk. After this one, fly ball left field, and it's over the head of Dahlhauser to the wall. Page is going to take off for second with a 1-out double.
Well, these Roosevelt hitters have been doing a good job adjusting to that pitch up in the zone. And she just hit it on a line all the way out to the fence, turned the corner, and slid into second base.
So this Rough Riders squad got knocked around by Valley, and who hasn't been beat up by Valley a little bit this season? Lost 9-0 as part of the Valley tournament, but then bounced back. 10-run Spencer, 15-5, and then blanked a very decent Iowa City West squad over the weekend, 9-0 to lead into this matchup. They've been a unit, as you can see, 24 runs over the weekend in 3 games. They can put some on the board, and now putting a little bit more pressure here on Lincoln as Grace Bell running at second now for Page. And quickly 0-2 tomorrow. After this one, popped it up, foul ground, it will get out of play.
You know, some schools still use the card method on the wrist to call the plays, and some schools now have the electronic gadget that they can put, the catcher will wear, and they can call pitches that way. And so it's just a variety of things that you see throughout the game now of ways of getting plays in, a good pitch, good location there. And it looks like both these teams still using that little card on the wrist and calling the plays from the dugout.
Which do you prefer? You like digital?
You know, I don't know. They use digital in college. I don't know if it speeds up the game anymore or not. They seem to think it does. And in college, they moved to that pitch clock as well. So that, honestly, I mean, a lot of the games that I was attending, games still went 2 hours or longer. So I'm not sure that that it speeds up the game. I guess if I had to say, I think I might advance more towards the digital side of things. That you know, you're not always hollering things out. There's still a chance to pick off signals and calls and try to figure out the numbering.
Heads up running there by Bell with that one down in the dirt, able to take third. So now another runner just 60 feet away from extending Roosevelt's lead here. That's interesting, though, the wristband, the digital method, gone into the hand signals, and I'm sure the players are very appreciative of that, as that pitch just misses.
There might still be a few coaches left that still flash the signals from the third base dugout or the third base coaching box.
Gracious, as you saw the appeal made. See if Bell was able to check her swing or not. The payoff misses up high for ball 4. So they're at the corners now for the Rough Riders. It's a second walk of the game issued by Rishas. So 2 out, runners at the corners. And Addie Scott will be the batter. And looks like Roosevelt may be going to their bench to get a runner. We'll see here as Nanny Bell and it looks like Recker is going to be running for Bell at first. So exchange a freshman for an 8th grader. Rocker at first. Now time is going to be taken here by Lincoln. 3-1 ball game. Roosevelt again threatening here in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
And I think Coach Ellis just wants to make sure that they know exactly what they need to do with runners on the corners, who's going to cover second base, how are they going to handle the lead runner over here at third. What are they going to do? And they just want to make sure they don't want to give up another run, so they want to make sure that they execute the play correctly.
How about the latest rankings here put out by the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union? You see Waukee Northwest, the top team in the state, followed by Pleasant Valley at 14-1. Then Johnston, Centennial, Muscatine Valley, Ankeny, Cedar Rapids, Kennedy coming in at number 8. Then Iowa City Liberty and Sioux City North checking in at number 10 at 12-2.
Pretty potent lineups there.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of those teams. We'll see a couple of them more later on this week. Johnston and Valley we'll get the opportunity to see here in a few days.
First pitch in there for a strike. Runner takes off towards second. That mound meeting was more about defensive strategy, what to do with record. Do you throw down to second, risk giving up a run without the out, or do you allow her to take second? And they certainly let her take second. Now here's Addie Scott. Fly ball, left field. It's going to go foul and out of play. Scott, who drove in a run with an RBI double back in the second, has been on a tear at the plate here for the Roosevelt Rough Riders.
Well, she hit it with authority last time at the plate. Just nice level swing and drilled it all the way to the fence.
And the 0-2. This one off the end of the bat.
Boy, just battling, and Risha's trying to find a spot where she can get her out, get the strikeout, and get him off the field.
Just in the bottom of the third inning, but bottom of the third inning, but a big moment here for the game. With runners at second and third, and Scott can't catch up with the fastball. That's going to be the 5th strikeout of the game for Risha's. And that's going to be it for Roosevelt here in the third. Still a 3-1 ball game as we go to the fourth when we return.
Access further.
Six to take on Clara Page, who's been dialing it in the last couple of innings, has retired 6 out of the last 7 batters she's faced. Actually make it 7 of the last 8, as Page has found a little bit of footing on the mound, if you will. That Lincoln dugout starting to get up a little bit, needing it here as the innings start to wear on. That first pitch from Page misses outside for ball 1.
You mentioned it, that last couple of innings, the dugout for Lincoln didn't have quite as much pep and as much spark. They weren't up cheering as they were in the first inning where they got their first run.
This one on the ground towards second, going to be gobbled up by Huggins. That'll be it for Delfino.
But you know, you can't just get that first run and then quiet down. You got to keep that level of enthusiasm up all game long, trying to lift their team. Good contact there by Delfino, but right at Huggins.
Lincoln perfect in Alliance Conference play so far. Hold the game advantage on Roosevelt. After this one popped up, playable on the infield. That's Page off the mound who will make the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out here to Phillips. And there are 2 gone and nobody on here for Lincoln.
Get those shoulders, pop it straight up. Page takes over, calls everybody else off.
Here's Ariana Corsby. So out to right field, back in the second. Takes a strike here.
Now, you asked about digital. We talked about the wrist. Looks like Roosevelt has an earpiece, and they're sending in signals verbally into the earpiece. We might be able to get a look at Coach over there in the Roosevelt dugout here over the course of the game, talking into a little transmitter and giving Morrow the signal.
Let's see.
So right there, he's got a little transmitter, and he's given Morrow the signal, and she will send it out to Page. So a lot of different ways now to run a ball game.
Here's the 0-2. This one, the changeup on the ground, knocked down by Thompson. A throw to first, in time, 3 up, 3 down. Lincoln will go down in order, so we played 3.5. 3-1 Roosevelt here on MC 22.
Watching MC22 is now easier than ever before. all Mediacom customers can watch local programming online anytime. Go to MC.net or
It's a 3-1 game as we now go to the bottom of the fourth inning here on MC22. It is the Iowa High School softball matchup of the week. As we take a look at CJ Risha, she's been dialed in so far. 5 strikeouts here for the senior. Given up 3 runs so far, but Risha has been right on point, though, to the batter as she'll face 8-9 top of the order here for Roosevelt. Lee, then Swanson, and then the top in Thompson.
I think one of the things that Risha needs to do is start getting ahead of the hitters again. She was in command when, especially in that first inning, 3 up, 3 down to that bottom of that first, and she was ahead of every hitter, put them on the defensive where she had command of the game.
Lee with that ringing 2 RBI single in the second. That's a difference in the ball game here. Lee takes ball 1 here. Jalea, a multi-sport athlete, also on the basketball team here for the Roosevelt Rough Riders. In fact, coming off of a homer from a week ago against Ottumwa, as Lee is starting to get heated up at the plate. In fact, has 2 home runs on the season. Well, those 2 RBIs earlier, now with 6 on the year. Favorable count here to start this at bat.
And she's also their second pitcher, so we will probably see her in the second game.
Shows bunt, lays off. Or actually took that one in there for a strike as she laid off the pitch. After this one, line shot, left field, just over the outstretched arm of Haltom at short. And the lead batter on here for Roosevelt, second time today.
Boy, I thought Haltom might have had that one, just tried to time the leap, as that's a line shot just right over the glove of Haltom.
And so coming in to run now is going to be Grace Bell. And Jalea Lee, who ran the bases in her first trip out there. Now being courtesy ran 4, so I think that might be it, according to the rules, for courtesy runners here for extra players, as Jalea Lee is being ran for by Grace Bell. Showing bunt, laying this one back to the screen is Sloan Swanson. Tenley Thompson on deck.
See if they try to go bunt again. Then flip it over to the top of the order, see if they can produce. Thompson is a run producer.
Showing bunt, this one back to the screen. Swanson popped up to center back in the second. And each inning has had a little bit of a different story to it as this one develops on. Here's the 0-2. Again showing bunt, lays this one down on the 0-2 pitch. Sharp throw by Faust. They'll go to third and they'll get the tag out. Grace Bell tried to stretch that one out and he got pegged. Sharp throw from DeFino back to Faust.
Really good execution. They get the bunt down with 2 strikes. The good throw to get the out, and being very aware that Bell is trying to round the corner and get to second or to third. And that's Rishis over there covering third base.
How about that? Rishis covering the bag at third.
Well, Faust had to come in, charge, and get that bunt. made the good throw and didn't have time to recover. And Risha's being smart enough and seeing that that bag was open, hustled over and covered it up.
Sometimes those plays are momentum plays. Count of a ball and a strike here to Tenley Thompson, right at the top of the order here for Roosevelt. And what a difference that is. Thompson stepping up with nobody on now and 2 away. So she struck out and she also singled. That was back in the second. This pitch down and away. Ball 3.
I mean, you're right. I mean, that play, and it was such a heads-up play by Risha's, realizing third base was wide open. Somebody had to get there and cover it, and she did. Throw was a little offline, but able to go back and get it.
After this one, fly ball in the outfield, and it'll drop in for a double. Thompson on her horse, looks at third, now will retract back after a strong throw in from the outfield. And actually got away from the third baseman Faust, but how about Tenley Thompson? Boy, that one just hung up there, and Newhouse maybe shaved a little bit more to her right, or to her left, had to go a long ways to try to catch up with that one.
Made a good effort out there in center field. That ball coming right at you, just out of the outstretched arms of Newhouse. And how big is that double play now for Lincoln?
Now here's Huggins after this pitch. Fly ball right at Newhouse this time, and will make the catch, and that's going to be it. So no runs on a couple of hits. 1 runner left aboard for Roosevelt. We've played 4 complete, as this one has had quite the tale as we take a look at our game recap here. Things got started off the right way for Lincoln. Risha's on the mound, dialing it up, getting the outs. And Lincoln able to cash in early on as Newhouse would be able to come around to score on the RBI hit by Delfino. However, Roosevelt, some big-time answers, though, in the second. How about the 2 RBI double by Addie Scott? Jalea Lee able to answer it back with an 2 RBI hit of her own. And that puts Roosevelt up 3-1. And since then, it's been some really good pitching and defense as we've settled some in to quite the contest here in the Alliance Conference South Showdown as we take a look at this double play here in the 4th.